But to open up that box to some of our viewers who might not be familiar, what are we talking about when we're talking about Darwin's theory and the Darwinian mechanism?
Yeah, so Darwin, Charles Darwin wrote or published his book on the origin of species in 1859. It's a long book. I haven't read it in full. I got bored after 150 pages. It's really quite good in parts, but it's a long read.
Hmm.
Um, he was he wasn't the first one to think of this, but he was putting forward in the most robust way for the first time a case that nature can accomplish something like what humans accomplish when we breed domesticated animals, when we breed dogs, when we breed chickens and cows, the things that we want to get sort of a refinement of a species that accomplishes something for us.
Hmm.
So if you think of dogs and all the different roles that we have, working dogs, you have the ones that pull sleds, you have the ones that um, track, you have the ones that herd, you have the ones that hunters use for pointing and for retrieving.
Hmm.
Um, and there's probably some I've forgotten here, but all these are distinct roles. And we know that all of these dogs were bred from original kind of wild dog breeds that would have looked more like coyote and wolf and dingo. So these are the wild dogs you find out in the wild untamed today. And none of those are like all the different specialties that I just named. So it is true that for certain species, humans have been able to cultivate and selectively breed and pull out very, very particular properties when they do that. And it's not true of just dogs. There's birds that we've done this to, all kinds of, uh, of plants for our agriculture and farming. The current version that we have and that we farm is quite different, noticeably different from what a wild version would look like. And so Darwin, noticing this, and with some sort of philosophical stuff that came out of his own life, he did this voyage on the Beagle. Um, he was struggling probably spiritually in several ways. He lost a daughter at one point in his life
Hmm.
as a child, which was very hard on him. He was putting together a case that nature itself could accomplish something like what humans had accomplished,
Hmm.
not by deliberately trying to get a particular kind of dog, for example, but just by sifting variations that exist within a species, and the ones that are best suited to a particular environment would be favored over the ones that were less suited. And this was adaptation. And this whole process he called natural selection to distinguish it from human selection. And in a wild extrapolation, he convinced himself and tried to convince others that this could account for the diversification of all living things from some simple original life form. And he didn't in his On the Origin of Species book or in any other book attempt to explain that origin, the original
Hmm.
origin of life. What he did was suggest that this natural version of selection could take any initial form of life and diversify it into a bunch of to occupy a bunch of different specialties, niches within the environment and create a huge diverse ecosystem that we see today.
Hmm.